here it is, Battlefront's Flames of War Stalingrad 2-player starter. An excellent way to get started in mid-war Flames of War. So I'm going to turn this around. You'll get quite a few things in this starter box. You'll get a plastic Panzer III, Panzer IV, a KV tank, a T-34, a Valentine tank, and 2 plastic tank commander sprues, along with an A5 size mini rulebook, a get started booklet, some 2D terrain tiles, dice, and 9 unit cards. Alright, without further ado, let's take a look at what's inside. Battlefront does a very good job of stacking these small starter boxes with quite a few things. First off here is the Stalingrad Start Here pamphlet. Gives you an assembly guide and a couple like basic scenarios for you to play with the units that are included in this box set. Let's see. And lastly, the What's Next section, which kind of just gives you a recommendation on what to get to expand your experience with the Stalingrad box set here. You have your 2D terrain with like objectives and stuff like that. You get, this is all in cardstock, and there's actually 2 cardstock boards in here, and we'll open that up in a little bit. Before I get to these things, we should look at the other stuff. There's your dice, red for Soviets, gray for Germans, and then the baggie with your cards, and we'll take a closer look at that in a little bit. And then absolutely an excellent addition is this A5 sized mini rulebook. Definitely a great way to have the rules handy in a small format size. But on to the meat and potatoes. First sprue, German sprue here. I'm going to bring this down a little bit so we can take a closer look. So this is the Panzer IV sprue. I like that everything fits on one sprue for this. Tracks are very nicely detailed. You have your bottom hull, top of the hull, 2 different versions of the cannon, the cupola, and all that stuff. Alright, next up, we have the Panzer III sprue. Again, very similar layout. Tracks, hull, cupola, turret, and all the stuff that would go in it. I'll bring this up just a little bit closer. So all these tanks are in 1/100th scale. So 15mm. Very well detailed for the size. Alright, we'll take a look at the Soviets. First off, we have the Valentine light tank. Very well detailed as well. Tracks always look so good with these Battlefront minis. Alright, next up. Here we have the main hull and turret for the T-34. Because you have 2 versions of the turret available on this sprue. I'm not quite sure. I'm not familiar with the T-34 in terms of the differences between the turrets. Looks like this is a smaller turret, so I'm not sure which version of the T-34 that would be for. And then we have the tracks and the main gun and other stuff that would go on the tank. Fuel can, or fuel, the fuel tank there. And then again, the tracks. And then there is another turret included for the T-34. So again, I'm not quite sure what the differences are with all these turrets and which one you would choose. But if you do know, please comment below, let us know. Educate us. Alright, lastly, we have the KV-1. Top of the hull, turrets, two different versions of the turret. Mantlet. There's your cannons there. And then the bottom of the hull and the tracks. And other items for the KV-1. Oh, so for this you can make the KV-1 or the KV-1S, I guess based on the turret maybe. Again, not familiar with my Soviet tanks. But definitely the big daddy of all the Soviet vehicles included in this set. Next up we have two Commander Sprues. So, let's see. Bring it up closer. I like that they give you different options for the commander, and since there are 5 tanks in this, you can have each tank have a commander popping out of the turret there, but you don't have to do that. Alright, we'll go through the cards here. Here's the Valentine. I guess you can feel these in quite a large quantity. Alright. Next up we have the T-34 Early. So this has the 76mm cannon. And so next up we have the KV-1S. This has the 76mm cannon. And then to round it off, just the bog standard KV-1. Finish off the Soviet cards. It's great artwork on this. This is just some of the rules, the movement orders that you can give your units. Alright, on to the Germans. So, we have the Panzer III up armored. And then the bog standard Panzer III. Different versions of the cannon here. There is an option to replace a short 5cm with the long 5cm. Really depends on how you want to play your cannon, but the long has further range, as you can see. And then, lastly, for the Germans, the Panzer IV. And again, short or long barreled cannons. And then that option to do the 7.5 short or long. To round them off, here is the movement orders, which don't seem to be much different than the Soviet one, but the artwork is really nice. And we're going to finish off with the cardstock terrain and objectives and stuff. So here is the terrain card. Some sort of long house, smaller house here. Oh, this looks to be a church, so I think this is a church. And then a house, and then you got some walls here. And then the second card, more terrain, longer walls. So let me flip this around. We got some tokens here and more houses. And there you have it, Battlefront's Flames of War Stalingrad 2-player starter. An excellent way to get into Flames of War mid-war, especially if you want to play Germans or Soviets. With this 2-player starter, you get quite a few things that'll just make it easy for you to get into the game. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more unboxing videos from Wargaming Noob Historical.